coming up on the 70% Podcast.
Speaking of toilet paper, my son just told me he shops at my house.
What?
I know. When I don't like bacon, or I do eat bacon. I eat a lot of pork. I'm just saying. Just gonna throw it out there. No, everybody's like, oh, drive safely. I'm like, if I drive safe, I'll never get home.
Okay.
No, I think that, what were we talking about?
This is what happens when
We're
you
talking about
involve
me being an angel.
The 70% Podcast with your host, Amy Alexander and Mike Sewell.
Hello, hello, hello.
Back again.
Back again. No, I can't sing. I don't even know why I try. Welcome to the 70% Podcast. I'm Amy Alexander.
I'm Mike Sewell.
And please like, subscribe, share, and do all the things that make you aware of our new podcasts every week or every other week or whenever we do them.
Wow.
Well,
we're going to keep you guessing. So
right.
that
We don't want to do that, but
right, you're
we're
on the
both
edge of
in
your
real
seat.
estate,
You
and this
don't
is
know
our
where you're at.
busiest time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're trying to make sure that we keep everything rolling and keep some sort of synchronicity in the whole scheme of things. But
and keep the group growing so that we can start, like we keep touting on and talking about, let's start voting together so that we can make change. So, yeah, we're gonna keep doing our part, and you guys keep doing your part, and
tell your friends, hit the like button,
like, share, subscribe,
and comment.
Yeah,
We've been getting pretty good comments.
I know. I know that's been going well. So the Facebook group. If you're not on the Facebook group, definitely get on there. Because that's where we do all our commenting and talking and discussions and stuff like that. So there's that. So last week I said something. I think it was last week or week before last. No, it was last week. I think it was, or 2 weeks ago. Anyway, long story short, I said that a president can run can do 12 years, and I was incorrect in that statement, and I wanted to clear that up because I don't like sounding like a dumbass. You know what I mean? I knew that he can run more, or he can, or he. Excuse me. My bad.
Anyone.
They,
them.
could, him.
Him or her.
The
whichever.
The person.
Yeah.
Fuck this political correctness. Anyway, the person that's running for president, I believe that they can. I thought, okay, they can run 2 terms, or they could be in office 2 terms and then skip a term and be in office a term. But that wasn't correct. So it's 10 years. They could be in office for 10 years. So if they come in, like say year 2, because the president died. So say Joe Biden passed away, unfortunately. That's not what I'm saying. What I want to happen. Like, so the CIA and the Secret Service can stay out of my life.
No,
that's
and
not what I'm saying. I want
regardless
to
if some of us think we're in a weekend.
This is
Bernie.
this is a hypothetical.
Bernie's
This is a hypothetical. Okay.
Okay.
So let's say hypothetically, he passed away, and what's her name?
The first black
Yeah,
woman
Camille.
vice president of the United States of America. Yes,
yeah.
Camille Harris.
Yeah, Camille or Kamau? Camille. So say she became president in year 2, right? She would be able to finish serving out those 2 terms and then yet again run for 2 more terms.
For 2 more terms.
Oh, 2 years and then run for 2 more terms. That's correct. So she could literally be in office for 10 years.
What if, so hypothetically speaking, Joe Biden passed or whatever. He doesn't even have to die. They can, go 25th.
They actually realize he has Alzheimer's and take him out of office?
Right.
Okay, so let's say that happens.
Yes.
Which
and
should,
she's
but
got
that's
3
not-
years left.
Nope.
Then she can't run for that second full term.
Right, for the second full term, because she'd have been in office for the 3 terms. What it reads is that the amendment caps the service of president at 10 years. So if a person succeeds to the office of president without election and serves less than 2 years, it reads here he, but we're going to say they, may run for 2 full terms.
Okay.
Right. So.
All right.
So I knew there was more than just 8 years. And so I wanted to clarify that up so that I don't.
But they can't, like Barack Obama couldn't come back and try to run.
No, he's done. He's over.
Okay.
He's done.
What about his wife?
What about her? She can run for president. Yeah, and then his daughters after that.
Yeah.
And then, after
What do
that,
we call that? An oligarchy? Monarchy? I don't even know.
Monarchy, right?
Monarchy. I don't. So, speaking of which, Speaking of the Constitution and monarchies and all these other forms of government,
Sure.
there was a post that I had made last week about Michelle Bachmann saying that there's a World Health Organization meeting, conference, whatever, and Joe Biden presented some amendments to what the WHO has capabilities for. Yep. And somebody jumped on me right away and said, Michelle Bachmann, she's crazy. And
right.
Immediately I was like,
and you're a conspiracy theorist.
Right.
That's what they
well,
said. Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe
and that's okay, though. That's okay for him to have that opinion.
Right. But it's disheartening to me that people just automatically jump on that and say, oh, because it came from her, it can't be true.
Right.
So then I started digging into it and looking at other sources of information, and I actually pulled up the amendments and read through them, and it's all good. It comes down to interpretation.
Okay.
So if you trust your government,
right,
then we'll probably have nothing to worry about.
Right. Okay. So explain that a little further.
Well,
so it's interpreted as.
So most of it is just having to do with preparedness and emergency situations, and they refer to the state parties, which is each country. There are 192 countries involved in this, and so these state parties, when there is a pandemic situation or there's something that happens, like COVID, if we would have had these amendments and this organization, or the amendments set up through the organization WHO, China would have been required to notify within 48 hours the WHO as to what is going on.
Sure. And that's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
But continue.
So, and that's fine. And so then the WHO has the ability to offer their services so that they can help mitigate the problem.
Sure.
Where it becomes sort of sketchy is when it says, well, if you refuse the WHO's recommendations, then you have to write a report as to why. And then there's some verbiage in there about it's a little cloudy as to what would happen. And a lot of people, I'm sure, are thinking, well, if we have another pandemic, don't we want somebody to take control and lock us down and, and whatever? Not necessarily. The problem that I have with it, the report that I had posted, and it got pulled down because it was partially false.
I say that partially false.
Partially false.
And we're always creating.
Well, the false part is the because of the word. I mean, none of the things that she said were the actual words in the amendment.
Right. She was paraphrasing.
Right.
Basically.
So
she was saying, "Hey, look, this is what it reads, and this is how it's interpreted."
Right. So, and that depends on interpretation, and this is why we have such a problem with our Supreme Court, and everybody wants to have, we want conservatives. They all want to have the court stacked and everything because the Supreme Court is all about interpretation of the law and interpretation of the situation against the law, or.
I understand.
Into the
When you're looking into the law, the Supreme Court is interpreting what the law actually says and or means, and how we should continue to, move forward with the law. So whatever law that is.
So, and I didn't end up reading the entire, because these are just amendments, and the Biden administration proposed them. They're amendments to this treaty. That. Basically, the WHO would be the all-encompassing or the overseer of everything because they did so great for COVID. I think we should really put that responsibility on them. The concern that I have, and I think where Michelle Bachmann and some others have been dubbed conspiracy theorists, is they're reading into some of the verbiage as if worst case scenario.
Right.
Okay. And then there's others that are like, oh, that'll,
But you could turn anything into a worst case scenario, just like they did with COVID. They turned it into a worst case scenario situation, and now everybody across the world had to be on lockdown.
for
Right, but there's some countries that didn't. What was it? Greece, I think it was, didn't do a lockdown. They did hoarding. What do you call it?
hoarding?
No, not hoarding, but herding. What do you call it? When
Herd immunity.
herd immunity.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I think. That's what Greece did.
Hoarding.
Yeah. They're gonna keep all the COVID to themselves. That's our COVID.
Hey,
No.
if you're out of toilet paper, you go to Greece because they got it all.
Speaking of toilet paper, my son just told me he shops at my house.
What?
I'm like, I know that's a segue, but anyway, guys.
That's a segue into what? I don't think that's a segue.
Okay, that's not a segue. What do you call it? Wow, I'm in rare form tonight, right? I think it's all the back pain medication I took.
Yeah, you threw your back out this weekend, right?
Yeah. I was helping a buddy move some dirt, and I felt 40, but I'm not 40.
How do you feel now?
I feel 90,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm only 52. So I'm still a young pup, little baby, little bitty guy.
Yeah. Okay, moving on.
So back to the Constitution. I'm sorry.
So the point is, and then I looked at the false claim, and like I said, there's some inaccuracies. It's because of
But here's the thing. So what? There's inaccuracies. So
hearsay.
So what?
I mean,
why can't people make that decision on their own? Why
don't
is
know.
Facebook involved in taking things down, saying nope?
Well, this
is
was
false
the
information.
Australian
blah, blah, blah,
Associated
blah, blah.
Press that pulled the article or and of course when it
Oh,
says
flagged it.
yeah, of course when
Okay.
it says it's false information, I don't want to. I mean, I'm not going to leave it out there
Yeah,
because
no doubt, no
I
doubt.
don't want people to think I'm just trying to peddle it. But it is something that I think we should be concerned about.
Okay.
And nothing in there specifically says, oh, if we have another pandemic, then the WHO is going to be responsible for locking us all down. But it also doesn't say that couldn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not whether or not the WHO has the power to do it or not. It's whether or not those state parties allow them to do it. So the way I see it, it's kind of like back when I was an accountant and I needed reports and stuff from people
Sure.
in all the departments when I worked. I was a
Right.
corporate accountant for a paper company.
Sure.
I would request these and I wouldn't get it, and I'd throw the IRS under the bus. The IRS freaking needs them. What do you want me to do? Do you want to go? You want to go talk to the IRS?
Right.
Tell them that I can let them know that you're not giving me this stuff, and
Right.
then I'm sure they'll be more than happy to come talk to you. Well, then you get the reports. You know
get
what I
them
mean?
right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's where I can see, depending on
who's in power at the time in the United States. So if we have a Democratic-run government, federal government at the time, then we're going to have the WHO taking over the United States and what our medical needs and stuff should be.
They could.
They could.
And then it
Could.
is to just in another comment or another phrase in there was not dispersing, but making sure that there are equal supplies throughout the global, and I don't know. I feel like, and feelings should not be in that, but my feeling is that if you can't trust your government on like minor things,
Right.
I don't know why you would trust them. I mean, you're not giving your healthcare sovereignty to the.
Here's the thing. though.
Yeah,
we're supposed to have, the government is supposed to be working for the people. As the people, we are supposed to make sure that they're doing what's in our best interest. The problem lies in the fact that we're giving them too much control. We're allowing them to have too much control. Go ahead. You're shaking your head.
I don't think that's the entire problem. I think they have too much control. But the other problem is that we, as a society of humans, have become severe assholes and can't agree on anything. And my way is the best way, and your way is shit. So get out of my way. And I'm going to vote for this guy because he's going to make you do it my way.
And we're not going to compromise on anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was never the intent. I know, if you go back to the Constitution of the United States of America, and there's a book. Well, it's the Federalist Papers.
Mm-hmm.
It basically explains. It's Alexander Hamilton. Who else? A couple other people. Sorry. Oh my God. Explaining. I wanted to say John Locke. That's not it. It's it's explaining. It's their campaigning for why the Constitution is a good thing, and their whole intent for the Constitution was coming from where they came from, British rule. They knew how a government can rule a people and not grant them the individual freedoms that people deserve. And so they spent a lot of time, they spent years going through all of the, and trying to make sure that no one person had all the power. If there's an executive branch that, that's why you have the separation of powers. And now it's just getting like, I don't really feel like there's any separation of powers. I feel like, there is and there isn't. I feel like Nancy Pelosi is in charge.
She can't take communion anymore, though.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Well,
she's done.
I,
No communion for Joe.
well, and she, yeah, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna pray for him and whatever," and I'm like,
she's gonna pray for him,
or she was gonna pray for Donald Trump or something. I remember her saying something about praying, and I'm like, "What? You pray? Okay," but. That's a whole nother argument or
we're not going to get
conversation.
into that tonight.
But the point of what I'm trying to say is that a lot of people, especially on the left, think that the Constitution is a bunch of BS and should be eradicated. Or
see, so here's the thing: there's a lot of people of color that says that we're not included on the Constitution.
But it does say all men.
So, but we weren't considered men; we were considered property.
Yeah, but then, just like any other contract,
right?
You start with the original offer,
right?
And then you make an amendment,
correct?
And then you forget about the original,
right,
the original,
the amendment,
because we have the amendment.
Right.
Which amendment was that, Mike? Do you remember? I don't remember. Oh my gosh, why don't I remember the?
Was it 1865? The Bill of Rights.
Yeah, there's 27 amendments to the Constitution. So the first 10 are the Bill of Rights, and that's the right to free speech and arms. And then there were 17. There were actually 33 amendments that have been proposed, but 6 of them never got passed. I think 4 of them are still floating out there somewhere. 3 or 4 of them. But yes, amendment. Oh, the
1865.
The 13th Amendment abolishes slavery and involuntary servitude. And of course, I could have the same argument. Like, I wasn't a real person,
right?
In the eyes of
woman.
Because I am a woman,
right.
And but we amended that.
Right.
Like so I don't care if.
The original document states X, Y, Z.
Right. Is that really all it takes? Is that we say we instead of him in the document and include? You can't just rewrite it. And that's not contract. This is a contract. That's not how contract law works. You have an original contract. This is an amendment. This amendment to the Constitution. You have a legal contract, and now it is not legal to hold slaves, have slavery, anything like that.
Right.
And honestly, if we didn't have the Civil War, we probably would be two different nations, and we would still have slavery.
Yep.
Well, maybe not till today, but
Maybe. We do have slavery today. I mean, that's a whole nother topic of conversation. Well, we actually had that conversation.
Yeah, last year we did. We talked about
trafficking and stuff like that.
There's 43 million people in this world that supposedly, statistically, or however they figure that out,
that are being trafficked.
Yeah. So, sorry, Jenny just showed up. She's taking some TikTok pictures, and apparently she doesn't like our mess.
Clear off that table. What is wrong with you two?
All right. Hi, Jenny.
It looks like my office. It's fine.
So I think one of the biggest arguments that we have right now is that between liberals and conservatives is whether or not, do you consider yourself a constitutionalist and a nationalist, or do you consider yourself a globalist and a non-constitutionalist? I'm not sure what the opposite of that is. Yeah, whichever. I mean, the Constitution is a living, breathing document.
Well,
not so much. I mean, it's a legal contract.
Right.
And that legal contract, the purpose of that was for these men who created it to ensure that future society would not become subjects again. I mean, that's why they moved to America and they created.
Hold on. That's why they stole America. But go ahead. But and I'm okay. See, that's the thing. People say that all the time, and they say it like it's a bad thing. I'm okay with it. Mm-hmm. Throughout history, people went and stole land from other people.
Well, look what they're doing in Russia's doing to Ukraine right now. Look at what, I mean.
Right. Throughout
Middle
history.
East, all the time.
In Africa, the African continents, they were fighting each other all the time. They had slaves themselves, So I don't have a problem with the people coming over here stealing the land. But in today's world, I think that the Constitution should stand, and the amendments should definitely stand in that, and we shouldn't sway too far from those things.
Right. Well, and I think part of that too back then is population. I mean, you can only have so many people living in one spot, and you're going to, these guys come over on the boat, whatever, and now there are. I mean, they don't know how big how big the continent is.
Right.
No, I need to survive. I need to live here. Okay, now I'm on this boat. This boat's not taking me back. And so I need to hunt, fish, whatever. And they did what they needed to do to survive. Now, I'm not saying that was completely innocent.
I think they did more than what they needed to do to survive.
Right. And
they came here and they killed people and they stole the land. And it was war, and it's been that way throughout history. I don't have a problem with the fact that that's the way things got started.
Okay.
It's the way it was.
Okay.
Back then. You know what I mean?
I just truly don't believe that they came here and were just showed up in order to just kill people.
No, it was probably more of a opportunistic thing. They came in, they said, "Oh, these people are weaker than us. Let's just take their shit."
Or maybe they came in and those people were like, "Get the fuck out of here," and they started throwing arrows and musket. I don't even know what was. I don't know, and they were defending themselves. But I don't. There's we weren't there.
No,
we weren't there.
No, but American history doesn't teach it the way you just said it.
It doesn't. No,
it teaches us that they came here. They took the land. They killed the people. Mm-hmm. So that's what American history teaches us. We can only go off of.
And then they throw Thanksgiving in there, and you're like, "What the?"
Oh, that was the smallpox. They said that they could give them the blankets, just like they lined up all the black people and gave them syphilis.
Okay.
Which is the reason I don't trust my government.
Right? Yeah. So, all right. So we're kind of going
we're going off on a tangent, but I mean, we're talking about the Constitution. We're talking about trusting your government. We're talking about the who. and why we should give them the power to mandate anything in our country at any given time. Why would you give power to another organization or conglomerate to mandate anything in your country?
For the greater good, Mike.
You're not going to come in my house and tell me that I should have bacon in my refrigerator when I don't like bacon, or I'm Muslim and I don't eat bacon. Not that I am Muslim. I do eat bacon. I eat a lot of pork. I'm just saying. Just gonna throw it out there.
Bacon, bacon, bacon.
I actually really like bacon.
Okay. So, where were we? Oh, yes. So throughout the years, these amendments have been brought in, and it's not easy to get amendment ratified to the Constitution. So there are 27 of them, and they all had to do with something that gives people more individual freedom. None of the amendments give government more power.
Right.
None of them.
Exactly.
The only things that give government more power are the government legislation and different things that
different laws that they put in place and stuff like that.
Right. And so if you think of it that way, where the Constitution was the original contract, but then we all just got smart, started getting along.
And we realized that, hey, you know what? Women should be able to vote. Why can't women vote? They're okay. They're okay people.
I know.
You know? They're fine. Let them vote.
I might not be able to golf at St. Andrews before 11 a.m.
Those
but
black people, they're people too. Let them, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's get them out of the damn chains. You know, let's give them 40 acres and a mule, or at least say that we're going to do it and not actually do it, and let them go. Just let them.
There's no hostility there at all. I'm gonna get you're gonna one of these days for your birthday. You're gonna get a fucking mule. I'm gonna put it right on your steps. I'm gonna put it on your front porch. I hope it craps on your sidewalk.
Keep the mule. Give me the 40 acres. I'll take that.
Yeah, but we've made progress. So everybody thinks that conservatives are kicking everybody back, decades, and progressives are this. But I feel like progressives are we are becoming more segregated,
right?
And we've done these amendments. The only amendment that we don't have in here that I think we should is limiting government with term limits and.
Absolutely.
If you're, Scottish, only up to age 75. I mean, if you have to be 38 or 35 to be president, why do you get to be 85?
President at 89?
Yeah, exactly.
Once you hit 70 years old, 75, you should 70 years old, in my opinion, you should not be able to be president. Now, if you are 69 when you're voted in.
Right.
Then
if
you can continue.
70,
then you can continue to be president, and you can run for a second term. However, if you are 70 years old when you're running for president, you can't run for president. Period. You aged out. Right. It's time for you to go out to pasture and retire, or do something else.
Become an anchor on MSNBC or write a book or
anything.
Be a lobbyist.
Right. The last thing we need in office is somebody that can't think straight. That's the last thing we need in office. I mean, why would you have someone in office with Alzheimer's? That doesn't make any sense at all to me. And I know they're saying that he doesn't have Alzheimer's and stuff, but the way that man acts on stage in front of people, you cannot. There's no way. Even the people that voted for him tell me, yeah, I know he's a little wonky. Yeah, no, he's more than a little wonky. Yeah. But anyway, let's go back to the Constitution.
Okay. So the treaty or the pandemic accord or whatever they're calling it that's going on. The WHO, should we have an overseeing body that can help everybody and make sure that everybody is communicating with it? Yeah. I believe that. Yeah. However, I don't know that there's a lot of ambiguity in the amendments the way that I read them.
Right.
But
they shouldn't have the power to mandate anything.
Right. I feel like it's way too open for interpretation, and we could lose rights. Like when they're saying, "Oh, we are going to lose our healthcare sovereignty to could we?" I didn't see any stopgaps in there for
not being able to lose those. Yeah.
Right. And so it's all a matter of interpretation and the situation. So you could come up with 8,000 situations.
Right.
And yes, do we need somebody that can communicate with everybody and make sure that, rules are set in place? Yes.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having an oversight committee.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. The problem lies in the fact that oversight committee can now mandate anything for our country. I don't mind them making suggestions of mandates. Well, I don't mind them strenuously making suggestions for mandates.
Right. Well, and that's where, again, the ambiguity lies, because it's, they're making recommendations, but if you don't follow the recommendations, you got to do this, and you have to supply, whatever.
That's where it should stop. If you don't follow the recommendations, this, and this happens. That's
right.
It should stop.
That's right. That's where
we get to make recommendations, and you can either accept and or reject those recommendations. It's up to you. Period. Done. There's no, and if you don't, this happens or that happens. You know what I mean? That's where it should have stopped.
Right.
But that's where you open up the pandemic box. You what?
The pandemic box?
Pandora. I was being silly. Anyway, that's where you open up Pandora's box, where you say, okay, well, these things can happen, that thing can happen, this thing can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And, is it a concern? Yeah. I think the more that our government wields their power, or there's the original intent of the Constitution and the founders of this country was not government control.
No, if you read the first portion of the Constitution, it clearly states that it's for the people. Mm-hmm. It's everything about how the public has the power. Right. Not the government.
And that's why people get so upset when they, you want to take away, the Second Amendment.
Right.
Well, you're just, when people say you're eroding or chipping away at the Constitution, I mean, you've got these 27 rules that keep us being individually safe from our government.
Right.
Because even if men were angels, then no government would be needed. And I can't remember that quote. Anyway, I'll have to look it up and
Nate,
post it.
You know what she's trying to say? No?
Yeah.
If men were angels?
Anyway, there's another good one.
Then all women would hate them?
Yeah. There's another... There's another that is awesome. Quote that is absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah, no doubt. I learned that many years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolute power corrupts absolute, and it's true though. It's true.
I mean, look at where all the money is flowing to. We're truly, and I know I harp on this all the time, but as a financial person, it just boggles my mind that we can just keep spending and spending and spending and be so far in debt, and nobody seems to be concerned about it.
What I don't understand how come a lot of people don't realize is how is it that most people in politics, and I'm talking about in the governor, the Senate, the government, stuff like, how is it that they're all in the 1%ers? How does that happen? Like.
Right. How does somebody that makes $172,000 a year as a senator end up with 3 mansions?
Exactly. Or they're all in the 1%ers. Mm-hmm. Most of them,
yeah.
And if they're not in it, they're close to it.
Mm-hmm. You can actually go online and find the richest all the way down to
right. So if these people are have that much money, okay, they're going to do everything in their power to hold on to that money, and everything in their power to continue to make that money. So if that's the case, and what makes us think that they have our best interests at heart at all? Seriously, they're gonna talk about how they have our best interests at heart, and then they're going to help out their homies. You know, it's the same thing with the billionaires.
I think a lot of people go in maybe when they start with the intention, but then you just get wrapped up.
I think two people in my lifetime went in with the intention on making radical change. I thought it was going to be 3, but 2. Okay, Ross Perot, and he got. I think he got threatened out of that. Like, I think something happened there, and he was like, "Oh shit, I better get out of this." And then Donald Trump. Okay, those are the only 2 people who went in there and said, "You know what? I'm going to upset the apple cart. I'm going to make some changes," and they started doing that or wanted to do that. You know, I really wanted it to be Barack Obama, because that was his whole thing, change. Hope and change, and that's what everybody in the world was looking for at the time. And if you look at it, Barack Obama and Donald Trump got voted in the same way for the same reason, and people don't see that. Barack came up talking about change, and that's what everybody wanted, because the American people, we're sick of our government. We're tired of them. Okay, they are exhausting. Okay, with all the bullshit. And then Trump came in and said, "Clean the swamp." It's the same thing. They said the same thing, and that's how they both got voted into office. You know. So anyway,
and how did Joe Biden get voted in?
Because everybody was so emotional about Donald Trump's antics.
Which a lot of it is, well, yeah. If
the country was making money. The stock market wasn't fucking plummeting.
I know.
The gas prices weren't through the roof. You know, there was a lot of things that were happening under his watch that we didn't have today. And I'm not saying that because Biden is in office that these things are taking shape. What I'm saying is that if Donald Trump was in office, they might not have taken shape as deep or as bad as they are right now.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Because if you look at what happens in the presidency, it's usually the first year or 2 years. It's the last president's, you know, phasing out, and then the new president's policies and stuff starting to stack up and come in. You know. So that's anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I don't know why you're apologizing, but
because I go off on tangents. I just blah, 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 blah.
And that's why we love
I just spew.
No, you were talking about that if men were angels, no government would be necessary. But it actually goes to your point, which was if angels were to govern men, neither external nor internal controls on government would be necessary. The whole point was that government would solely focus on making sure they govern those who govern. And the rest is oblige itself to control itself. And that's basically what you're talking about. It's the management. You would self-manage yourself, and that's kind of what the Federalist Papers were talking about. They had too much experience. Anyway,
the federal government, the purpose of the federal government is for safety of our country, defense, and what's the other thing? I mean, that's what. I mean, seriously. I mean, we have all of our government programs.
Foreign affairs, safety of the United States.
Right.
Mike doesn't drive too fast. You know, things like that.
No,
Me, Mike?
You always talk about, I have a heavy pedal.
No, everybody's like, oh, drive safely. I'm like, if I drive safe, I'll never get home.
Okay.
No, I think that. What were we talking about?
This is what happens when
We're
you
talking about
involve
me being an angel.
Oh, that's yeah.
Mike's an angel.
Is that what you skipped to? All right. Well,
that's what I heard. Was there something else that was?
No. Oh, we were talking about the federal government. The federal government is just an all overseeing for the. I mean, local and state governments are supposed to be they're supposed to, so what the governor puts the state laws in Wisconsin should be what we are adhering to. That should be the first laws that we're adhering to, and then the federal government should not have such a broad reach into our but then we run into the problem because there's 50 people or states that have an opinion on things. And so you have, like Wisconsin, we have concealed carry, and other states you don't. Illinois has legal marijuana or recreational.
Right. Yep.
And we,
Colorado,
so now
Illinois,
you're border hopping basically, and
we're surrounded by states with legal marijuana.
all right, that's why it's not that big of a deal that Wisconsin.
I'm just saying, you got Minnesota. Is Minnesota legal? I know Michigan is. Michigan
and Illinois are.
Right. Okay. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And it is actually legal here now.
Medical marijuana.
You can. Well,
Medicinal.
I shouldn't say that. They reduced the crime if you have less than an ounce, I think, or I'm not even sure. I don't know. I'm not all.
I don't know. I don't smoke weed.
Yeah. So.
Me, I'm not from the islands, girl. Me, I don't smoke the ganja now. Why you laughing about no, girl?
You remind me of Brad Pitt and Meet Joe Black. Anyway.
I look like Brad Pitt?
Oh, God.
That's all I heard.
Okay. So I honestly think a big part of our argument is that a lot of people, especially on the left, don't believe in the Constitution and think that it's antiquated, when in actuality, I feel that it's been keeping up with us quite well. The only thing that may be antiquated is the original verbiage saying, all men instead of all people, and he.
Right.
But okay, so if that amendment is,
let's throw an amendment that says that it's instead of he and or him or man is to read they. Done. That solves the problem.
We're so smart.
We should run this damn country.
All right, vote for Mike and Amy.
Amy for president, Mike for vice president. Don't expect me to do anything. I'm going to be on the golf course. I'm just saying.
Well,
hey, call me when shit hits the fan. I'll be there. Other than that, I'm playing golf.
Well, then at least your golf game will improve. Oh, yeah.
If we're not playing best ball, we're not playing.
Right. Yeah. So the point of the whole story is we have an election coming up in November. Now, there have been primaries, but we have an election. And over 400 of the legislators that we have in office right now are up for re-election. None of this is going to change, or none of, you have to pick which way you want it to change. Do you want to get rid of this stuff, or do you want to make it better?
Do you want to get rid of the Constitution or make it better?
Do you want to, I mean, they've already, it's like, people are like, oh, you still have the Second Amendment. I'm like, well,
it's getting,
for now, we still have the First Amendment, freedom of speech, really.
Yeah. No, we don't have freedom of speech.
No.
Because if we had freedom of speech, things wouldn't be taken down off of Facebook and this, that, and the other.
Right.
And you wouldn't be going to Facebook jail.
I have not been to Facebook jail yet.
Really?
Really?
With all of your antics?
Really? I know. I've been under the radar, I guess, for a while.
That's surprising. But no, so with Facebook jail and stuff like that, if you have free, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so go ahead. Finish saying what you were saying. It just bothers me that we don't, our freedoms are being eroded on a daily basis, and people they're not paying attention to this.
Right.
They're being slowly chipped away and chipped away and chipped away and chipped away.
Right, because each of these amendments have legislation under them, like the Second Amendment. Now we've got gun legislation for, concealed carry, or what is the latest one where they have the stock? You can't have more than 10 bullets or something. Whatever. I don't.
But bullets are hard to come by now anyway. I mean, they're going through the damn roof with the prices of bullets.
Everything is.
You got to make your own. You got to make your own.
So how do you think this is going to work when gas prices remain at $4.50? I see them going up to $5, and interest rates on mortgage loans go up to I'm thinking 7.25 at least before they come back down.
You think they're going to come back now?
Eventually, everything does.
Okay.
I mean,
It does. You're right. It does. But I think it's
at one point it was 13%.
Yeah,
at one point it was in the 90s. It was at 8%. Nobody ever thought it would be 3%.
Yeah, 3 or 2.25.
Yeah. So, I just, and gas price and food prices going up and supply chain issues, which I just.
What's going on with the breast milk? Not breast milk.
There's nothing going on with the breast milk. Okay, so there is a shortage of baby formula.
Okay, why is there a shortage of that? What's going on?
Because apparently we only have 3 or 4 companies that make baby formula.
Okay.
And one of them had a recall.
Okay.
A pretty big recall, I guess. And I don't know what, and other things like supply chain. Yeah. I didn't realize so many people were dependent on formula.
Yeah, neither did I.
I mean, I've never had kids, but I would, I mean, if you make it for free, go ahead and use it, Yeah.
My last daughter was breastfed, so that was not an issue for us. And then, years ago, like before I knew, before I was educated on formula and what's the best way to, give your child nourishment, formula was fine for me. I'm like, formula, whatever,
Yeah.
But as I got older and, had many more children, I'm teasing. I only have 4.
Yeah. So
anyway, and became educated. I started realizing that, and breast milk is a whole lot better for a child than formula.
Why do you think so many women are moving to formula? Is it because they don't want to? I mean, I know for some, and I can't. I'm not judging anybody or whatever, but I know for some.
Let's judge everybody.
I don't.
No, I get what you're saying. It's
Like
hard for me to speak on women's issues. It
Right.
really is, because I'm not a woman. As a man, I would say every woman should breastfeed. There's no reason why a woman shouldn't breastfeed.
Well, not
As a
every
man.
woman produces milk the way that they should, and if that's the
let me rephrase
case,
that. Every woman that can breastfeed should breastfeed. Why? Because it's good for the child. However, again, I'm not a woman. I don't
Right.
live a woman's life. I don't clean,
what if it
whatever
hurts?
the hell
Or
it is
what
that
if you
they're
work
doing
a
to
lot? Or what
there
if,
you go. That's
if
what I'm
you-
saying.
What if you want to start drinking wine after 9 months, or whatever anybody's excuse is to not?
That's why I'm saying, like, as a man, in my opinion, okay, never having to go through that, never will have to worry about it. I say it should happen, but it's easy for me to say that because I don't have to go through it.
Right.
I don't have to have somebody latched to my chest all day long while I'm walking down the street, or or sitting in a restaurant and being somebody shaming me. You should put your titty away. I can't believe you out here feeding your damn
Oh my God!
kid.
I'm getting you a baby mule.
I mean, hold up. You could sit here and stuff food in your face, but my child can't eat. That's just stupid. It's ludicrous. It's dumb.
Right.
But anyway, you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So I try not to speak on women's issues. Unless it's abortion. I'll speak on that all day long.
And that's another thing. Abortion. I understand my body, my.
That should go for everything.
Right.
That should go for everything. That should go for that damn shot that they're trying to stick in everybody's damn arm. That should go for everything. If it's your body, your right, that should be for everything, and there should be no standard other than that. Period. Don't tell me my body, my right when it comes to you getting an abortion, but it's not my body and my right when it comes to somebody sticking some shit in me. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I completely understand what you're saying.
You got me all hot under the collar.
Yeah. And I don't think a lot of liberals misread maybe not misread, but they don't understand. I don't think they're going, like, Christian values aren't necessarily going against the woman. It's protecting the baby.
Exactly.
Like, who's protecting? Okay, you have rights, but what about that? And if you think that a human is a human at the moment of conception,
that's the problem. That's the problem. The interpretation of what's a human and when it's when it is a human. So Christians believe that as soon as the baby is conceived, it's a human. It's a person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's developing as a person. Okay. And I think in the first week, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not a woman, I don't know these things, but I think in the first week, the heart starts beating, the brain starts developing. Am I correct? Am I correct?
Within the first trimester, I think. I don't know if it's the first week.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't. I
The first week, the heart starts beating, right? Jenny, speak. Tell me. You know everything. No, you're well versed in a lot of things.
It depends on what you're measuring from, because the first week after implantation and the beginning of development, the heart can start to form.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily start beating, but the first week that you're pregnant, nothing happens.
Okay.
okay, gotcha.
Okay. So
Yeah, I mean,
it's interpretation.
Is abortion a right?
When is it a baby?
do you think abortion is a right?
So, again, this I have to say it. I'm not a woman, so I don't know how these things work, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as a man, and in my opinion, if you are running around having unprotected sex, okay, man or female, okay, and a baby is formed from that, then it's your responsibility to raise that child or have that child, both man and female. So the man doesn't get to get away with it. He doesn't get to say that's not my baby, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the female doesn't get to get away with it and say, "Oh, I'm just going to abort it." You know, if I can't force you, how do I explain this? So a woman can say, "You know what? I don't want to have this child, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to abort it." Even if the man says, "No, I want my kid. That's my baby. I want my baby." He cannot legally do anything to have to take his ownership of that child. However, once that child is born, he can't say, "I don't want him. I'm going to abort my rights to him." He can't do that. He's still legally bound to take care of that child, whether he wants the child or not. So if it's okay, if it's that way for a man, that he is legally bound to that child if the woman wants the child, then it should be the inverse as well. If we're going to be fair, let's be fair, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If, as a man, I'll get a woman pregnant, I want to have the child, she doesn't, that's your problem. Give me the child. Once you have the child, give it to me, and go on about your business.
Oh, the government's definitely getting involved in that. You know what I mean? Like they won't. Yeah, and that's they overreach.
The man cannot walk away from his fatherly duties financially. Okay, he doesn't have to be in the kid's life, but financially, if the woman goes after him, he's paying for that child, whether he wants the child or not. And it should be that way. I'm not saying it shouldn't. What I'm saying is that the man should have that same rights. That's all I'm saying.
For whether or not to have the baby.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, I agree with you as far as I don't think abortion as birth control is the way to go.
Right.
And of course, a lot of this is a lot of the things we hear are sensationalized in the news, but you know, like post-birth abortions, and like you can abort a baby up to the point that it's being born. And that's, you know, things like that. I definitely think, I don't think if you have a baby forming inside of you and it's definitely deformed and it's not growing right and you're going to have, you know, whatever, that should be your choice. Because if that baby is not going to grow up healthy, wouldn't you just, and if you're a Christian, wouldn't you like to just release them to the higher power?
Most people think, and see, that's where it gets a little sketchy for me, you know, because most people think that even if the baby is born with Down syndrome and or developmental issues and or whatever, they still have something to offer the world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they should not be aborted. And that's what most Christians believe as well.
Right.
And
I'm saying
and
like you are missing a heart and you're
Doesn't-
going to be in, you know, like like
if you're missing a heart and you can have a and you can have a heart, or if you're missing half a lung, or if you're missing a leg, it doesn't matter what you're missing. If you can breathe and you can live and you can
live outside of the womb,
right? You should have the right. You should be able to have a life. That's how most Christians believe. Okay. However, in my own personal belief, if a woman has been raped, they shouldn't have to carry a baby from a rapist. I'm sorry. I know it sucks, but I'm sorry. They shouldn't have to carry. They should not have to do that.
Yeah. So
if
that
they
baby
choose
gets
not to,
punished.
the baby, the father did punish the baby. Yes, the father did do that to that baby by taking something from a woman that he shouldn't be allowed to take. Okay. If it's incest, okay. Then the person that did it, the man that did it to the woman, should be locked in jail for the rest of his life, never to be released. Okay, I don't care how old he is. All right, and the woman should be allowed, and or young girl, because usually it's a young girl, should be allowed to have an abortion if that's what they choose to do. But again, I go back to the using it as birth control. You're just gonna keep going to the clinic to have an abortion because, I guess what? I get drunk and I get pregnant. I blacked out. I couldn't remember. Yeah, no, forget about it. You're done. In my book. Now, deformity, that's a whole nother subject.
Yeah.
That's such a sticky situation. I would like to believe that I have a good enough heart that if my kids were deformed in some kind of way, I would be like, yeah, I'm going to take care of the kid. But I don't think I could.
I know.
I don't think I have that kind of. And I thank God that I didn't have to experience that, because I really don't think I have what those people that take care of, kids like that or adults like that or whatever, they have a heart that I just don't have.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I've never, I guess I've never been in that position and don't know exactly what I would do. Of course, once I had the baby, I would accommodate. I would have to, because that baby is born, even if I knew, at.
I got a good friend of mine who, her son was born at the same time as Olivia.
Your daughter.
Yep. And he was born with some cognitive disabilities, and I've watched her just take care of this child all his life, and she just loves and loves and loves all over him and just takes good care of him and stuff. And I'm just, sometimes I just sit in awe and look at her like, oh, you got such a wonderful heart. Like, I wish I had that kind of heart. You know what I mean? And there's nothing.
And you may have, if that situation happened to you, maybe you. I mean, I can't see you being the guy that's like, no, I don't think so.
I ain't my baby.
Next thing you know, you see him on Jerry Springer.
I'm 1,000% so. They ain't my baby.
Oh my!
I'm teasing. I would hope so.
Anyway,
I would hope so. So I don't know how we got off in this.
I don't know. But we got onto the subject because of the WHO,
right.
World Health Organization, and how that post ended up coming down on our group site, which you should all be liking and subscribing and sharing and commenting on and stuff, all that stuff, all the things, as my sister would
like, share, subscribe, comment.
Smash that bell. No, that's I don't know. This is why I have a marketing person that has to sit in the same room with me, because I can't even. Oh, good Lord.
Jenny's gonna fire us.
So the point of the story being, make sure you do your research.
Do your research. Get out and vote, and do your part in your little world.
Right.
Don't worry about the rest of the world. I know this shit is overwhelming. I know it's a lot.
And don't forget, the Constitution is for you.
If you just do your part, or just read the first part of the Constitution so that you can see that it is for you. You know what I mean? Just read that first part so that you can see that it was designed and built or written for the people. Okay? But get out and vote. Even if you don't think your vote counts, do it anyway. But, vote for the right person.
Vote for Mike. Well, that's
just do your research, man. It takes 15 minutes. It literally takes 15 minutes. You could wait till the day of and get up that morning and do your research and say, oh, this guy is, for bringing aliens into the world. I'm talking about aliens like outer space aliens. I'm not talking about across the border aliens.
Yeah.
That's a whole.
Well, we'll have to.
I had to clean that up because I don't want people thinking, "Oh, there's a Donald Trump in black skin." So.
Oh boy. Well, on that note, we should pick that up next time, though, as far as getting into that.
I like it.
The
Let's make it happen.
candidates and things like that.
Yep.
So
I'm Mike Sewell.
I'm Amy Alexander. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment.
No doubt.